Welcome everybody to another episode of Plug Talk Sports. Again, a Monday where a lot of things are going on. Again, the board is filled right now for our topics. So I'm excited. I got Jonka Don't Stop up there with Pat's Champs hat. That's kind of crazy. With two Dolphins in the building. I don't know how I feel about that hat, Jonka. I don't know how I feel about that, man.
Oh, you gotta know, bro. You gotta know.
Wow.
Campbell, baby.
That was quick, man. I mean, hey,
trenches.
Hey, Card was ready on standby. You gotta love it, man. And then, of course, we got fellow Brandon ready to go, already in the Panther gear, as you can see.
I mean, listen, I was super worried. Tampa scores 2 goals, 11 seconds apart, and I'm over here thinking, man, we're going back to Emily Arena, tied 2-2 after Florida took both teams in Tampa. And then, boom, Florida scores 3 goals, one being an empty netter, and now Florida's got all the momentum back. So super excited. And this happened all like 15 minutes before we all went live. So pretty crazy.
Yeah, pretty insane. Again, this episode being at 10 o'clock on a Monday. Game just ended, and that's going to be one of our topics. That's a little tease right there for midway of the show. There's a little tease, but let's go into our first topic, though, the NFL draft. Now, from the 3 days, we were going back and forth of, what's going to happen with Shedeur Sanders? Or, what are the Patriots going to do? And what type of trades we might see? Even the Dolphins. A lot of people, I've seen some draft grades of the Dolphins. They're 50-50. Some people saying D+. Some people are saying that, they got the things that they needed to get. But before we even jump into that, as I said before, Shedeur Sanders, one of the biggest stories of this NFL draft, of course, falling all the way down to the third day, the 5th round. And this was a type of, honestly, the story itself is like a story of humbleness, really. The way that I saw it, it's kind of how the NFL is telling these college guys, where college football nowadays, it's very player oriented. Like the players control a lot. The NFL was, no, the hell they don't. You know what I mean? So no matter if he was on IG Live, on his Twitch account, Shiloh, Sanders, or anything like that, they end up going through 3 days. The Sanders got themselves prank called by an Ole Miss frat kid, which I still don't even believe came up with an apology, a statement. But in my honest opinion, I love the fact that he dropped. I'm more surprised that he dropped to Cleveland. For you guys, what's your whole take of this Sanders thing? You think it's kind of, it was bound to happen, or you think the NFL is trying to make a statement out of him?
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know Shedeur Sanders, obviously, as a person. Obviously, all three of us here know that he's Deion's kid, but I really wouldn't. I kind of was shocked that he fell to day 3, as I'm sure both of you were. And kind of also surprised that he fell to Cleveland, because not only, they have a very crowded quarterback room. Dylan, you draft Dylan Gabriel. So then you're thinking, all right, it's going to be a competition between him and then the other guys in the room. And then here we are now. Now you got Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun. Obviously I would most likely say Deshaun Watson's out of this picture, because with his rehab, he had a delay in his rehab, and he's probably going to miss most, if not all, of the 2025 season. But listen, I've said this. I was talking to a buddy of mine last night about it. I don't really know. He fell to the 5th round. I don't know why. I think he's a talent. He is talented, I'm sure. I didn't watch every Colorado game this past season, but some of the games that I watched, he looked well. He had a couple deep throws during his Colorado Pro Day, so I was able to catch a quick glimpse of that. But look, and I even told you guys this: if there's not a team that, like, Hard Knocks better be going to Cleveland, whether it's training camp edition, preseason, cameras have to be rolling in that building 24/7, because with that quarterback room. And I'm not even going to get into the whole prank call, because I honestly think it was just obviously foolish. I think, not only did – and by the way, for those of you who don't know who it was Jeff Ulbricht's son, who's the current Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator, former New York Jets interim head coach. Not only did they put out a foolish statement, but Jeff Ulbricht's son on his Instagram story, he didn't even spell Shador's first name right. So I thought that right there was like, dude, if you're gonna obviously put out a statement, I mean, check your grammar, check your spelling, maybe even like chat GPT it if it has to come to that, like, at least something. Because I thought that statement was honestly very clownish, but I'm not gonna sit here and really get. I mean, we all know that you have to be a total fool to do something like that. But yeah, I mean, really, Shador's that have a huge, grudge now going into the season, and that's why I'm honestly excited to watch, come training camp and preseason, because we obviously all know where Tom Brady fell. We obviously all know where Brock Purdy fell. We know where Jalen Hurts, who just won a Super Bowl this past season. So I don't know. This could be either Shador doesn't work out, he's a quote unquote bust, like the word that everybody likes to use, or he ends up turning out to be the next Tom Brady. But I guess obviously time's gonna tell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really surprised that he fell to day 3.
Oh,
because not that he's not a bad quarterback or anything. I just think it was Cam Ward, Kyle McCord. I think he was slept on.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was Jackson Dart, and then Jalen Milroe, and then Shador Sanders. But I guess because of the rumors of the bad interviews and the cockiness and the arrogance, and obviously his dad in the background, that if anything went wrong during the practice or whatever, he's going to consult his dad about it, and then he's going to go over the ownership's head and the coach's heads I want to listen to my dad and nobody else. I guess that was one of the alarming things that made him fall that far down. Kind of like a humbling situation.
Yeah.
But I just think the moment that the Saints took Tyler Shug, that's when I knew, bro. That's exactly when I knew this was not going to be a good draft for Shador.
The Saints looks like between them, Pittsburgh. I mean, there's not a lot of quarterback needy teams, but there was definitely at least 2 in that draft this past weekend.
Yeah, especially the first round.
Right,
yeah,
especially with the Saints not knowing the future of Derek Carr.
Now, for the issue of the Cleveland Browns drafting him, this might be a hot take, but I think they drafted him because Roger Goodell made a phone call and said, "Hey, either one of you 32 teams is gonna have to draft Shador, or else we're gonna have like some sort of like bad publicity, bad story on our hands. It's gonna make us look bad because it is Deion Sanders' kid. And if we don't draft this guy, who was potentially a first-round pick, it's gonna be bad." So I think he forced the hands of one of the teams, most likely the Browns, because of their QB situation. And I think that's why they drafted him, because we saw that camera. We saw that live footage the moment they drafted him. They didn't look that happy. I think they looked like, bro, we just got forced into drafting this guy, and we didn't even want him. We already drafted Dylan Gabriel.
My favorite part of the draft,
Oregon. That's my personal opinion of why they drafted him. They didn't really need to draft him. I think he should have gone to the Rams or the 49ers behind Matthew Stafford or Brock Purdy. If Brock Purdy doesn't work out, and if, let's say, Matthew Stafford gets injured again, you have Shador Sanders in it, who's a good enough backup behind either Jimmy Garoppolo, and I don't even know who the 49ers have, to be honest.
The Dolphins honestly should have gotten. We'll get more into this tonight, but they draft Quinn Ewers. Why not just say Shador Sanders and let him compete with Zach Wilson for the backup role behind Tua? I mean, what? And on top of that, Chris Greer in his media press conference did say that there were times during the draft where they did discuss about possibly drafting him. So that's going to be key down the stretch. Was it a mistake taking Quinn Ewers over Shador Sanders? Again, time's going to tell.
I heard the same rumors that they were looking to Sanders, but the Browns did take him, and that's why they ended up having to go for Quinn Ewers, the Dolphins.
I mean, Quinn Ewers is not a. I mean, like again,
yeah, they did move up in the draft.
He's not a bad quarterback, but he has been hurt. Decision making is okay. I mean, he's had some obviously flashy moments, but again, like I've said this before about Zach Wilson, if anybody not named Tua is seeing the field next season, you're in big trouble because you gave Tua all this money, and the Dolphins. Speaking of the draft, they go after a defensive lineman. They go after an offensive line. Actually, trade up to get an offensive lineman.
Picks.
Right. So it's like, and I mean, what I liked about the Jonas Savaiinaea pick is that he went to the same high school as Tua, so there's going to be some familiarity there. He's a big dude. Like if I had to describe this Dolphins draft in one word, it's big. Like they even drafted a guy named Zeke Biggers. Like they definitely just saw the word big and was like, screw it, just send it in. Like I'm sure you guys have seen that like that Dan Marino meme where he's like, fuck it, send it in.
Yeah.
I personally think the Dolphins didn't really need to get rid of that 3rd and 4th round pick to move up to get Jonah. I think he would have fallen, and if let's say somebody would have taken him, I'm pretty sure you could have gone on another offensive tackle, which it was a deep tackle draft this year.
Absolutely.
And you would have kept those 2 picks. You could have used those 2 extra picks for a corner, a receiver, a running back. Maybe you didn't have to settle for Ollie Gordon. You could have gone somebody else. Yes, Damien Martinez, bro. Damien Martinez on this team.
Wait, but hold on. I will say I like the Ollie Gordon pick. I think he's gonna mix.
I do like it too. I agree.
Yeah, I love the Ollie Gordon pick. I mean, his stats, if you look at 2023 and this past season, they are obviously a bit of decline from last season and 2 years ago. But he's a playmaker. And speaking to him, he looks very excited to be here. Like, I'm really excited to see him come OTAs, training camp, rookie camp. Like, he looks like a guy who's ready to go, put on his jersey, and he's ready to go. And remember, he's going to be joining a very speedy room. You got Devon Achane and Jalen Wright. So, I mean, you want to talk about guys who are going to be going after it neck and neck every single day inside of that building. Like, I like that, Ollie. And you got to remember, McDaniel loves speedy guys as well. He loves speed. That's what this whole Dolphins formula has been around. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that they took him. Now, why he fell that big, we won't know, but hopefully it turns out to be like Achane, where he gets drafted in the later rounds and turns out to be a very productive player.
He fell down that far because of the running back class. It was way too deep. Too deep.
O'Mary, yeah, right. I mean, what's his last name?
O'Marion Hampton, Travion Henderson, Ashton Jeanty.
What's Travion Henderson going to New England? And when I saw that pick, I was like, damn, of course he's going to fall to an AFC East team where we now have to see him twice a year. And then it's like, really? Like, it's just like the Miami Hurricanes kicker, Borregales.
Yeah.
He's going to end up picking, it's coming. He's going to kick a game winner at Hard Rock Stadium where he's kicked his entire college career. It's literally coming.
Yeah, he's going to be there once every year.
Now, he was at UM all 4 years, right? He didn't
all 4 years, and a lot of Hurricanes drafted in this one. But let's go into the draft grades. I mean, you guys already started the conversation here. The Miami Dolphins draft grade. I'm actually looking right now at NFL Network's article on this one. They went through every single team, but the Dolphins, they gave them a B+ in this one. Now, as you said before, bigger is better, according to Chris Greer. Looking at the picks, 2 guys, her first top 2 picks, over 650 pounds combined between the two. Kenneth Grant, obviously a nose tackle that's really good run stopping. Has his championship pedigree from Michigan when they won it in 2024. And then you got another guy, Jonah. We're going to figure out the last name. We're going to figure out the last name one day. Savaiinaea. Basically, has only guarded for Polynesian quarterbacks, and that trend continues now in the NFL with Tua Tagovailoa. Going on to the 5th round, though, Jordan Phillips, defensive tackle. And then a guy I loved from Gator Nation, Jason Marshall Jr., also a Miami guy, went to a bunch of Dolphin games. Wasn't really a Dolphin fan like that. He didn't have a team, apparently, according to some of the press conferences, but he did go to games. So now he goes to Hard Rock Stadium, where he's really familiar with. The safety room is added on by one, Dante Trader Jr., and that is actually the second Maryland guy out of this draft class from Miami Dolphins. I was kind of surprised about that, going from the Big Ten. And then, of course, as we mentioned before, Gordon, who I think will be great. Terrible O-line in the Big 12. For those who watch Big 12 football, it was probably one of the most horrible seasons out of expectations for Oklahoma State, that is. And then, of course, the biggest one, Quentin Ewers, probably the most interesting one. I don't know if you guys saw it.
I mean, they only have two quarterbacks inside of their room right now.
Mm-hmm.
Whether Quinn Ewers is going to be just a training camp body or he's going to be a practice squad player, I have no idea. Like that's
exactly. But I'll tell you what, though, it's the fact of accuracy, pedigree. The guy was the Texas program for a good 2 years, which resulted in two good seasons towards the college football playoffs that ended a little bit short. But now we have a 3 quarterback room. And then, of course, as I said before, Zeke Biggers, defensive tackle. The way I look at this current draft class, I think it's impressive that Greer actually listened to the fans this time. We went out there and went to the trenches, got offensive tackles that are actually decent. We went out there and figure out the defensive tackle situation because, again, as of currently right now, Benito Jones cannot be the second guy as a second string DT. I'll tell you that right now. So I actually do like the idea of having a quick guy. And again, for over 300 pounds, impressive 40 time. We're talking about, the fastest one really out of the combine for his size at least. And then the only questions I do have, because me and Jonka talked about a lot through the past 3 days of the draft, the wide receiver room. It's still, there's no meat on that bone. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and who else can you name?
Well, they did. Well, during free agency, they picked up Nick Westbrook Akine.
Yes,
he's a big tall guy. I saw some of his tape. I haven't finished watching it, but from what I've saw, he seems like he's got very, very good hands, catches deep balls. I would imagine McDaniel's going to use him as like their main slot guy. But we have to talk about this like cornerback room because I know Barry Jackson.
I love Marshall though. I tell you what though, some people are already categorizing him as another Jalen Ramsey. And as a UF grad, I seen it. He's great on ball. The guy can get himself back into the zone here. Obviously, not the best against Miami. I know most people from South Florida noticed him in that Miami versus Florida game in the bushes. But this is a guy that I frankly do believe will transcend in the NFL. Just give him about a year or two. And besides, it's better than Cam Smith missing more than half of the preseason. But I like it.
No, go ahead.
No, but I'm just finishing off. I like it, though. I like the pick there. But, again, for the receiver room, I understand undrafted free agents are always going to be an addition. But to get a quality guy at receiver, I mean, Isaiah Bond was available late. That could have been a 700.
His sexual misconduct allegations completely dropped him. I mean, he didn't even get drafted yet. So yeah, he hasn't even gotten picked up yet, right? So and with all the problems going on around the Dolphins franchise right now, with Tyreek Hill, offensive line concerns, cornerback concerns, whether Tua's going to stay healthy, the last thing that they want is someone like Isaiah Bond, who, again, innocent until proven guilty. But I'm not going to jump into someone's personal problems. But I don't think the Dolphins. That's probably the last route. Knowing that this is a huge year for GM, head coach, that's the last guy. That's the last route that regime wanted to go through.
I think the Dolphins are looking at that situation, waiting to see what actually happens with Isaiah Bond. If he's cleared and he's found not guilty of any of that, and he's ready to go, I think the Dolphins are gonna go after him. Obviously, the receiver room is kind of light right now. But if I'm going to give a grade,
I just don't think I don't think this team is done addressing needs. Like I said, cornerback is very, very thin. I mean, very, very thin. Like I mentioned it this morning on X. Storm Duck, Cater Crow, obviously Jalen Ramsey, but we don't know whether he's going to be here or not. Ethan Bonner, Jason Marshall Jr. I mean, if you're walking into week one with those names, like no disrespect to any of these guys, professional athletes, but you're not winning many games. You got to remember, you got Josh Allen inside of your division, a rising Drake May, and so you don't really know. I mean, obviously Justin Fields, I'm not sold on him yet. Maybe he comes out of the gates this year and shots us. But when I looked at that division, I looked at two quarterbacks. I looked at Josh Allen and obviously Drake May, a young Drake May. But now that he seems like he's got a lot of protection now coming his way, so we'll see.
And speaking of which, Jonka, the floor is yours. Again, we can't go with every single NFL team, but it would be
of course
horrible
not.
if we missed out on the Pats, though. So tell us, your draft class was really impressive. You got a few Ohio State, one of the Ohio State running backs out of this draft class. You got some protection now for Drake May, a guy that said that would die on the field for him. So tell us, Jonka, what are your thoughts about this draft class, and how do you grade this one for the Pats?
Don't make me cry. After having the worst offensive line in the league, the worst wide receiver room in the league, I wouldn't say fix it, but we've improved dramatically on offense and on defense in the free agency and in the draft, and also in the undrafted players. We finally got a kicker. No more. Hopefully, Joey Sly gets traded. We got the best blocking running back in Trevion Henderson. We got Will Campbell to protect Drake May's blind side. We got the highest graded center in the draft in Jared Wilson from Georgia, and then we got Kyle Williams from Washington State, who a lot of people had him high on the wide receiver rankings. Apparently he has the best separation in all the receivers. Not the greatest speed. He runs a 4.4, which is not bad, but not the greatest speed. But I think he has really good hands. He's another weapon. He's comp to around like Garrett Wilson in a way. So I'll take that. Garrett Wilson is not a bad player. With Stephon Diggs, Matt Collins, Hunter Henry, and now with Ramondre Stevenson having another back, and Trevion Henderson and Antonio Gibson. Man, I'm scared for everybody else, bro. I really am.
I mean,
Drake May was able to pull most of those games off with nobodies. Oh, buddy.
But this is going to be a very interesting sophomore year for Drake May because he's got like a new roster coming in. Really, I mean, new head coach, new O line practically. Really, a rookie tackle for his blindside block. You had mentioned Trevion Henderson, who's a wonderful player. Watched a lot of him during his Ohio State days. I mean, I would even say New England's probably ahead of the Dolphins right now. I mean, I know there's still a long off season to go, and it's only April 28th. But with the moves that they're making, and like you had said, Stephon Diggs, who's coming off a major leg injury
right now. He's ahead of schedule.
I mean, Matt Collins, loved him. He was a really good Dolphin. He was a great asset for Tua. Loved him. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, but right now, as I see it, I think Buffalo's 1. I think we all agree with that. Buffalo's 1. New England, I would squeak in there at 2. Miami at 3, and then obviously the Jets last. But if you had to do another side, I'd probably go Buffalo, Dolphins, Patriots, and Jets. But again, we're only in April. There's still a long time left. So
yeah, very long time. And also before we leave this part of the segment, the best and worst from this year's draft. Going first, I have the best in show, the New York Giants. Now, insane. Probably the only time I can ever tell that the Giants actually were trying in a draft class. Now we have Abdul Carter coming up at their first pick of the draft, followed by Dart coming in right after the Ole Miss quarterback, the first quarterback off the board from this year's draft. I love it all round. I really do love it. Down the road, they also got themselves a pretty good tight end over here with Thomas Fadone. And then, of course, Scattaboo somehow drops and goes to New York.
Arizona State, yep.
Welcome back, Saquon Barkley. That guy is going to be brushing through people like crazy. I love every single part of it. Again, Cleveland is a really big eye-opener for Hard Knocks, but if it's not in New York, it'll be a damn shame. We're talking about a Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, the Italian kid, of course, from New Jersey that everyone knows because of this. You don't even have to say his name of Vito, whatever his name is. And then, of course, Dart. Now, the quarterback room alone is enough to get you to try to get NFL League Pass to see some of those preseason games. I love every bit about this draft. I'm really excited about this New York team. Now, good thing Danny's not on the show because he'll probably be rolling his eyes like crazy because God knows the Cowboys did pretty bad in the draft. But I love to hate on this team a lot. the New Orleans Saints. Kelvin Banks, that's the only good pick. You got the quarterback out of Louisville. What are you doing? You got a Kansas running back in Neal, and yeah, he was pretty good in the Big 12. You could easily get him undrafted, free
But
agent.
this is why
you could
the
easily got these guys out of the way. I mean, this is, again, the Saints themselves shoot themselves in the foot. You go out of your way to get Spencer Rattler a few years ago. You say that, oh, watch him come in for Derek Carr. He shits, excuse my language, but this is realistic, shits the bed in his first time playing on primetime television. And then you have Derek Carr coming in at quarterback, and he barely is anything what it was at the Raiders. And now Kamara can barely play on the team. You're talking about situations where you have to basically trade him. And then you look at this draft class, your result of potentially losing Kamara in the future is Neal. I didn't like this draft class at all. I don't think they're looking at their future.
This is why I don't really like mock drafts and grading picks, because all these kids could be busts. I mean, in reality, they really are kids, you know. But if I had to pick one team that I thought had like a "what are you doing" kind of draft, what about the LA Rams? I mean, I didn't really think they were really active as much. And this is a team that was the whole "F them" pitch motto, you know. I mean, you have it like John mentioned earlier in tonight's show. They have an agent Matthew Stafford. What are they going to do at quarterback? Roll with Stetson Bennett? You know, there's a lot of questions to be heard there. I mean, Matthew Stafford's not getting any younger. I mean, pushing 40 years old in real life may not be that old, but in NFL life, that's old.
And Jonka.
Bro, I'm not gonna say my team because that's just gonna be too easy. Man, best team overall. That's tough, bro. I mean, I guess I would have to say the Titans. Them obviously being the worst team in the league. They got the number one. I think they got a really good quarterback, not because I'm a Canes fan, but I think he's a really smart quarterback, and he has a good work ethic, and he's gonna bring him back. But they got him so much. They got him protection, receivers. They improved on the D line. They got legit. The QB, receiver, edge, offensive guard, and safety. They addressed all their needs. He's a leader. He's gonna hopefully bring him back. But I don't think they're the best team in their division. So next year they're gonna have another high draft pick, and most likely they're gonna try to get somebody to help also improve that O line, because obviously you got to protect Cam Moore at all costs. And I think it's gonna be the guy from Miami, Francis Mauinoa. But I would have to say Tennessee because of how bad they were.
Mm-hmm.
I think they improved. I think that's why they won. They're my number one team right now.
I think the Jacksonville Jaguars had a pretty solid draft. I mean, trading up to get Travis Hunter, who we all know who he is, one of the most exciting, polarized college prospects in a very long time. He's going to be playing both offense and defense. So that's great. Like, are you even allowed to bet on whether he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year in the same season? Because that has to be a wager. I mean, he's not
going to be Defensive Player of the Year. No way.
No, I mean, I don't think he is. But just to even think about it, since he's playing on both sides of the ball. I mean, when was the last? I mean, he's literally the Shohei Ohtani of football.
Mm-hmm. Now, to have the worst draft, I would have to say yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to say the Vikings. The Vikings, even though they only had 5 picks in the whole draft, legit, like none of them. Like, look at this. They only had a first round pick, a late 3rd round, early 5th, and two mid 6th. That's it.
I mean, I would also say it's probably a big year for O'Connell as well, because I believe JJ McCarthy should be coming back this year from his injury. And so they were kind of thinking whether they were going to get Aaron Rodgers. We're good, right? I think we had some technical difficulties.
Sorry to everyone there.
Yeah.
We had some technical difficulties. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, a bit odd. I think me and Jonka backed out. I don't know. But
I was like, man, Jonka just doesn't like football anymore. He just like said, screw it, I'm gonna cancel it out.
he was like
the entire podcast tonight.
He was like, next segment. But we do have to go to the next segment, though. We do got to go to the next one before we get the plug pulled off by AT&T. So, NBA playoffs currently right now going on. Actually, Golden State Warriors going against the Houston Rockets right now. It's 26-21 in the first quarter. That is a 2-1 series with Golden State on top. Golden State's actually on top right now, up by 5.
Jimmy's back. Is Jimmy back tonight?
He is. He's right now on Steven Adams playing center for the Golden State Warriors. So I don't
think we can talk about the NBA playoffs unless we talk about the Heat. I mean, we have
to. Which is the first series we're going to go into. Of course, the Miami Heat got swept under their own floorboards in Kaseya Center. The Miami Heat losing it by more than 50 points against Darius Garland and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Funny enough, Garland didn't even play the last 2 games. Ty Jerome was automatic. Max Strus was automatic. And I'm going to use this analogy again, but the Twin Towers of the front court of Cleveland of Mobley and Garrett Allen just dominated Bam Adebayo. I mean, Bam Adebayo and Kellen Ware, as tall as they are and how decisive they are with their decision-making, especially on the defensive end under the paint, I mean, the ball movement in Cleveland was phenomenal throughout this series. Game 3, they go on a 12-0 run. It turns into a 20-0 run going through the first, and then they just blow them out the building. Same story here. What was it, 34-8 at one point in the first quarter for this game? This is a series where
it was 30. At one point, it was 35-8 or 35. It got as high as 35. I mean, listen. I'm gonna just say the Heat quit. I mean, they knew they were down 3-0. They were never winning a game in this series. They kept games 1 and 2 close in Cleveland, but games 3 and 4 were a total embarrassment. And if I'm Eric Spoelstra, if I'm Pat Riley, I don't mean to cut you off, Brandon, but if I'm Eric Spoelstra, if I'm Pat Riley, sir, you have a lot of questions to answer this offseason because you can't keep running it back with this core. You just can't. In a very tough conference that they're already in, the Orlando Magic, they're going to be a scary team come near future. Mm-hmm. You can't run it back with – I don't know what you do. I'm not in the building. I'm not Mickey Harrison. I'm not Pat Riley. But I'll tell you what. Come soon for his end-of-season media availability. He's going to be tested, and he's going to be asked a lot of difficult questions that he's probably not going to like some of the questions that he's going to be asked. But he needs to man up and start answering because I'm a Heat fan. You're a Heat fan. John is a Heat fan. Like it's getting pretty tired. I mean, they were an 8 seed 2 years ago, and we saw this magical finals run. They had Jimmy Butler, but I feel like the culture was there 2 years ago. You know, they had Matt Strus. They had Gabe Vincent. Can we stop using this Heat culture? We're the strongest, most physically well put together. Like, you're not. I mean, look at what you put out. I believe at one point tonight, it was like 108-55. Like, I mean, that it's like Duke against Florida Gulf Coast. Like, that's how bad it looked. And we saw it in Game 3. We saw it tonight in an elimination game when you knew damn well you weren't winning 4 games in a row. But at least let's make it somewhat competitive and try to win 1. You couldn't even do that. I mean, this was 2014 NBA Finals all over again when San Antonio, a young San Antonio team led by Kawhi Leonard, came into – then it was named American Airlines Arena and absolutely dismantled the Heat with Wade, Bosh, and LeBron. I mean, that's how bad. I don't want to say it was that bad, but tonight it was. I didn't watch a single minute of it. I was peeking at my phone, just checking the score while watching the Florida Panthers game. That was bad, and I'm honestly sorry for anybody that watched it, covered it. I mean, Spoelstra right now. I'm looking at my phone during his media press conference. He looks so defeated. I mean, this Heat team. Like, if this is the way it had to end, I'm honestly glad because what a wacky, what a messy, what a toxic 2025 Heat season. I mean, that's all you can really say.
And 138-83, the final, the most lopsided loss in Heat history and the first ever sweep that the Cavaliers have been able to do since 07. Now, I would have to say this is, and I'm going to put a guarantee right now, the Cleveland Cavaliers are not only a contender, but I think they're a top 3 team right now contending.
But do you think, hold on. Do you think they get past Boston?
I think they get past OKC, and they could get past Boston. This could be a 7-game series for where the front court played. Not even that, Donovan Mitchell averaged at least 24 points a game. And this was a game where they didn't have their main facilitator in Garland for at least half of the series. Again,
right, let's also
coming in. This is going to be a situation right now where you're going to have the Cleveland Cavaliers having to push themselves now through an Indiana Pacers team, which is right now a 3-1 series lead against Milwaukee. We'll go into that series later on. But there is going to be a series against Boston, I believe. And again, this is a Boston team that's already getting banged up against a WWE Raw Monday night matchup in Orlando every single week. And now you have to go against a New York team. Cleveland very much can, and this is not they are, but can beat Boston through 7 games. And that's me as a Celtic fan saying that. But
now, they can, yes, I mean, any team can, but will
more than OKC, more than Denver. And I kid you not, this team is a threat. Not because of the starters, as the team itself. I'm telling you, active coach.
This Heat, I mean, if you're comparing the Celtics team and this Heat, I mean, the Celtics bench could beat the Heat starters. And if it's a 7-game series between Boston's bench and the Heat starters, I'm taking the Celtics bench. I don't know if I go that far. All right.
I would tell you right now, the Miami Heat got outscored by 122 points in this series. 122 points. The Miami Heat were outscored throughout 4 games of this series. Jonka, I know that you said, it's hard to watch Heat basketball, especially during the regular season. It was definitely more hard to watch playoff Heat basketball this time. But Jonka, obviously the season's over. I don't know if you have any takes of the abomination that we saw on national television night by night. But what's your thoughts on this Heat season and really what you saw from this year, how it ended?
It's let me take that back. Brandon's. It's what more do I have to say that I haven't said on this podcast for the past couple of years already? Tyler Hero is just a skinny Luka. Bam has to be babysitted the entire way because he does not take the initiative and take over this team and put it on his back. He can't do it. No, Tyler Hero tried to do it, but since he doesn't play defense, he's not gonna. He can't be the guy. So he have no guy. Eric Spoelstra looks lost because him and Pat Riley just love to draft role players and not stars with superstar talent. And so whenever they have to play against teams that have superstar talent that can score very easily and with less effort, all of a sudden now that he have to play on overdrive and exhaust themselves, which hurts them defensively. And that's what you saw today. And it's going to be a continuous cycle. And at some point, we cannot blame the Heat players anymore. Yes, they played bad. Don't think it was bad. They shot really bad today. This is a lot of it on them. But at the same time, what adjustments are being made by the coaching staff and by the owners and Pat Riley? Let's be honest here. Seriously, I need a question. I need to speak to them face to face because I'm losing my crap at this point. What are you doing?
They've been honed in on this roster. I mean, you saw what they did in the bubble 5 years ago. Now again, 5 years. I mean, 5 years ago is a long time. They had a chance to get. I know they were all saying about Kyrie Irving. They were wanting to get Kevin Durant here. They wanted to get Donovan Mitchell. I mean, the Heat are. It's not a basketball town here. It hasn't been for a long time. And I'm honestly starting to think, I mean, Jimmy Butler wanted out. I'm starting to think, I'm glad he got out because it looks like the Heat look like a toxic team right now. They gave up. You're not going to sit here and tell me it's 35-8 and the Heat are playing that Heat culture that, we're the toughest team in the league. You're losing on your home court in an elimination game 35-8. I mean, 35-8, and it wasn't. I mean, it was 35-8. It was like 61-24, like an elimination game. And at one point, I don't know if you guys saw it tonight, the camera panned over to Pat Riley, and he just gave a blank stare. But like I said earlier tonight, he's gonna have to face a lot of difficult questions. What's the future gonna look like of Tyler Hero? What's the future gonna look like of Bam, Davion Mitchell, Andrew Wiggins? There's a lot of questions at this team. Am I gonna sit here and say Eric Spoelstra is gonna get fired tomorrow? No. Am I gonna sit here and say Pat's gonna step down? Probably not. But there's a lot of questions. Like, we've reached the point now where it's Florida Panthers. I'd probably even put the Dolphins at second, and then the Heat.
So you're looking right now a team on the brink of maybe imploding on itself like it did basically tonight throughout this offseason. So the Miami Heat season's over. The Cleveland Cavaliers moving on to the semifinals, and they're waiting.
Change it, Brandon.
Yes, Jonka, go ahead.
For both of you, and this is a serious question. Jonka being serious right now. At what point do we have to start calling out Spoelstra and his coaching staff? Because we cannot continue to blame the players.
We're not both
this is my point. This is my point that I make to everybody whenever this topic comes up. I know it's like not a popular opinion, but let me say this. Whenever the Heat win, all the credit goes to how great Spoelstra planned the game out and outcoached the other team. But the moment the Heat lose, it's the players' fault. When are we going to stop saying that, bro?
Let's be honest, though, Jonka. When you look at the season itself, I mean, this was a season that died in February. This season died when Jimmy was already making tensions within its own locker room. Now, this is a season where chemistry was very late. Now, Wiggins is a great player. Davion Mitchell, we've seen what Mitchell has done for the Heat defensively and also on both floors, offensively as well, in his perimeter game and also ball handling. Now, they don't even get through past Atlanta in the play-in without Davion Mitchell. But I'll tell you what, though, for the head coaching staff itself, for Eric Spoelstra, since those championship years, it's fizzled away. Like, Fitzdale went to New York. That didn't happen well. Then he goes to Memphis. And then you have other guys in the Heat where, Juwan Howard went up his way to go into college basketball at Michigan for a bit. So there's also a piece where it's like, Eric Spoelstra has become, I don't want to say Popovich type of status, but in the sense of the Eastern Conference, he's probably the most guy that's going to be standing 10 years later, still in the Heat, most likely because of his status, because of what he's done for the franchise itself. Similar to Pat Riley. But again, I would definitely say in the sense of your question, though, because we do have to go to the next series.
Yeah.
But quick statement, it's on everyone, but it's hard to blame when you know what happened earlier in the year. It's hard to blame.
I'm just going to say this quick before we move on to the NHL playoffs. We don't hear from really any of Eric Spoelstra's assistant coaches. Just like we don't really hear from Stephen Ross. We don't really hear from Mickey Harrison. We may never know what the problem is. If there was a problem, if there was something really major going on behind closed doors over at the Kaseya Center, we may never know. The only South Florida team right now that I can sit here and look at you guys and say ownership is involved, the GM is involved, are the Florida Panthers. You always hear from Vinny Viola. You always hear from Bill Zito. You always hear from Paul Maurice. It's like every franchise here is so dysfunctional, and then the Florida Panthers are in like their own little world where they're thriving in every category.
But staying in the playoffs, though, for NBA, though, as I said before, the Pacers and Bucks are basically going to be the teams battling out to see who goes against Cavaliers. That's a 3-1 series. Right now, we're dealing with Achilles tears right now for Damian Lillard, who historically, I've never seen anything like this. Came back after blood clots from 3 weeks to make it in time.
The same leg, though, too. Happened in the same leg. The Achilles tendon tear was in the same leg.
Absolutely. So dealt with calf injuries throughout the year. That, unfortunately, has resulted in him now being out for the season. It looks to be their season's bound to be over, 3-1 down in that series. And then on the other end of the Eastern Conference, the Detroit Pistons and the New York Knicks. It may be a 3-1 lead in the series for New York, but man, this is a bloodbath. This is the real NBA. This is 1992 NBA type of physicality. Karl Anthony Towns, the guy's an animal, basically averaging a double-double throughout these playoffs. He ended up going hot streak beyond the arc. They end up taking 2 games to Detroit, and now they take a 3-1 lead to New York. The Boston Celtics, as a Celtic fan, the only Celtic fan on the panel, I'm going to be really quick about this. Like, you guys are fighting our guys at this point, the Orlando Magic, I mean. There's no reason where I have Kristaps Porzingis stitched up on his forehead, Al Horford at his old age going against
the social media team is going to make that an app. Like, they're having fun. Like,
they're having fun. Joe is loving this.
I mean,
Joe
look,
when he saw
Tatum's literally going like this every time
with the wrist celebration. And the funny thing about it, both his wrists basically sprained. I know the right one has a bruise for the bone, but Joe Mazzulla on the sidelines when he's down, get up. No, are you thinking they're too physical? No one's been arrested yet. And so far, a 3-1 series, the Celtics, I mean, they're taking the battle hits, but they're winning the war so far in that series. Out to the Western Conference, and this will be a speed rush right here. Thunder going through 4 games against the Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies without John Morant looked horrible, and that was basically the story at the end of this series. Nuggets Clippers 2-2. This could have been Clippers 3-1.
That's going to be a hell of a series. I could see that series going 7.
It could.
I personally think Aaron Gordon's finger was still on the ball when he dunked it.
But the ball crossed the hoop, though.
It crossed the hoop. It was that close. It was that close. But again, the Clippers could have been 3-1, but now it's a 2-2 series going to Game 5 in Denver. And now, again, speeding rush. We were talking about Houston and the Warriors already. Their game is still going on right now for Game 4, where the Warriors are up 2-1. But this one, I think, is, for the 3 minutes we're going to spend on the NBA here, I'll be real quick on my statement. Lakers, Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards. He did it last year with
that series. I'm surprised. I'm surprised Minnesota's up 3-1. I know.
But how can you be? How can you be? No, we talked about the defense. Right, we talked about the lack of offense. We talked about the depth. If you talk about the depth of this team, the entire starting lineup of the Lakers was on for an entire half. They have no bench.
I'm really when they were all coming after me and saying the Lakers don't have any bids. I mean, now I'm really starting to see it. Like Jackson Hayes, really, come on. But there's Lakers fans are still out there going, "Oh, Lakers in 7, Lakers in 7." You got to trust. Oh, tomorrow night or Wednesday night we get Game 5 at home. We're gonna take that, go back to Minnesota, take Game 6, and then we get home court for game. I'm like, listen, Ant is the man. Ant the man. We always say Dan the man. We got to start saying Ant the man because that man, God damn, that man is good.
I'm telling you.
What I tell you guys, bro? What I tell you, Brandon? Memphis. Oh, come on, Memphis.
Hey, for the playing games, I didn't say they were going to go that far. But I thought they were going to be Golden State in that playing game. But either way.
Hey, all I'm saying right now, this might be crazy. But the way Luka has been playing, I mean, offensively, he's been great. But defensively, I could low-key see why they traded him away from Dallas.
Don't be surprised if Minnesota goes to the Western Conference Finals too.
Yes,
that series. They play the winner of Houston against Golden State. It could be Golden State and Minnesota, which is going to be a hell of a series. Steph Curry. That's going to be a hell of a series. Don't be surprised.
That series is going to be crazy.
Don't be surprised.
That would be insane. And also, because again, this was a Western Conference where the 3rd to 8th seed teams were basically tied going to the last week. That just shows you how tight it is. A 6th seed Minnesota team really can make it to the Western Conference Finals easily, and even to the finals. Right. Again, a situation where they found themselves last year.
Again, just quick here. Imagine Celtics Timberwolves final. Like that. Jason
that would be crazy.
Anthony Edwards, Naz Reid, Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, so many storylines.
Yeah. McDaniels on Jason Tatum. I would actually like to see that. And JB and Ant will probably be the matchup there. That is a good hypothetical. Again, they have to get through the series, but it looks pretty good. Up 3-1. Now let's go with our last 10 minutes. I'm just going through all the other series, this update, because we have to talk about this Florida team. But first, let's just go all across the West here. All the series are tied 2 apiece. Insanity. Winnipeg and the Blues have been back and forth like nonstop. Colorado and Dallas, surprisingly, a really close series. I thought the Avalanche were going to, put themselves back on the map here, but the first round off to a rough start. Edmonton, a little bit under fire.
Well,
right
Edmonton was Edmonton lost the first two in LA, and they came back in Edmonton and won the last two, including last night with Evan Bouchard scoring a goal with, I believe, like 25 seconds left in the third to force overtime, and then Edmonton wins it in overtime. So they were this close from being down 3-1 going back to LA.
Mm-hmm. So kind of similar to what we saw in the Stanley Cup final, down a hole, and they're starting to climb themselves back. Again, 2-2 in that series, and then Vegas, Minnesota, 2 apiece there. That one, not saying you're just fighting just to see who gets eliminated in the second round, but that's a really a bad first round series. Now in the East, Toronto, basically that. I mean, again, I'm not Canadian, so I don't really know what a province should have been a state, the 51st state. Don't mind that. Toronto on top, 3-1 over Ottawa, and then you also have Washington, Montreal, 3-1 series.
I believe all series in the East are all 3-1.
3 games, exactly that. All 3 games to 1. Carolina, New Jersey Devils. The Devils are bound to get kicked out like rocks. Carolina's on top there. And then, of course, as you mentioned before, 3-1. The Florida Panthers, 4-2 victory on home ice in Sunrise in Game 4. Were able to get the job done. Seth Jones, the guy of the Blackhawks from trade deadline, coming in to save the day, basically making 3-2. And then, of course, they finish off with open goal.
I mean, we can really say Aaron Edblad came to save the day. Because without Aaron Edblad's goal, are we really going to have Seth Jones' goal? But look, cardiac cats. I mean, really 2 words to put this comeback tonight. Cardiac cats. You're down 2-1. You give up 2 goals in an 11-second span. So first, it's Anton Lundell with a beautiful goal. Beautiful goal to make it 1-0. Crowded Amerant Bank Arena is fired up, jacked up. And then, boom, 11 seconds later, and you look up at the Jumbotron, and you're down 2-1, and you're like, holy smokes, we could be possibly looking at we thought we're going up 3-1 to now going back to Tampa with the series tied 2 games apiece. But look, cardiac cats, and now they're 1 game away. They could finish it Wednesday night, Game 5 in Tampa, and the winner plays the winner of the Toronto Maple Leafs against Ottawa, which that's going to be a hell of a series. Now, I do want to just say there are Maple Leafs fans that are chanting, "We want Florida." They did this 2 years ago, and they got their lesson for that, and they definitely learned their lesson. I don't know why they're doing that, but I'm just going to point that out there that I was seeing some videos spiral around X and around TikTok that they were chanting, "We want Florida." So,
and this is kind of like, I don't know what it is, but it's like the hockey gods always set this up. It's always a Tampa Bay or Maple Leafs in the first 2 rounds, and it's like clockwork now in the East, I think. But also, just looking at this game itself, I mean, we talk about the goals. I was kind of curious about Barkov, who got hit real hard in Game 3. He comes back, gets himself an assist in this one, 3 shots on goal. The guy was just about everywhere. This Panther team at full health. This is a dangerous, really, really dangerous team, especially now 3-1 in the series. But I'm also looking at a sense of, is this, I mean, Brandon, for yourself, because you're already wearing the jersey, unbiased, but how far can this Panther team go?
I mean, look, a healthy Florida Panthers team is a very dangerous. I mean, we saw Sergei Bobrovsky tonight. He had a pretty rough Game 3, bounces back with a superb Game 4 outing. I mean, if you get a good Sergei Bobrovsky in net, surrounded by a healthy Florida Panthers team, there's no reason why this team can not only go to the Stanley Cup final for the 3rd consecutive year, but hoist Lord Stanley for the 2nd straight year.
Jonko, what's your thoughts on the series and maybe about the Panthers themselves on this playoff run?
Man, I'm excited.
We got to get all the Panthers players out to Jonathan's restaurant. I mean, what
bro.
the hell? Like,
come out,
bro.
Aaron
Matthew Tkachuk, Alexander Bart. I mean, we need to start holding up signs outside of Amerant Bank Arena because this team is fun to watch. They're fun to cover, and you certainly want to see like their off the ice personality as well.
Bro, even though we lost that 5-1 the other night, bro, I was not fazed.
Right.
They were just like, all right, you know what? Let them have one. Let them have a little confidence. And then all of a sudden, that little confidence faded away once we scored those 2 goals in like 0.2 seconds. And that's it. All their hopes and dreams went beep, and that's it. I just excited. I think we need to play a little bit more organized, not rush too many things. Just handle business, head to the next round, see who we play, and then handle and make some adjustments and handle that from there. I think this series has had way too much drama already. Too many big hits, too many potential suspensions.
Yeah, but what do you expect from a Florida and Tampa?
Exactly. I think we just need to
rivalry.
just try to get to this last game and handle your business, end it, then go into round 2, and hopefully play a cleaner game, less potential injuries, so that we could go back to back, and then we'll see from there. But as of right now,
the Florida Panthers team, they need to stay out of the penalty box. I think that if they play like John mentioned, if they play clean hockey, if they stay out of those 2-minute minor penalties, those 5-minute majors that absolutely kill you, if they can do that and play clean 5-on-5 hockey, there's no one in the National Hockey League right now who could beat this Florida Panthers squad.
That's right. And again, from penalties themselves, I mean, Nico Mikola, misconduct penalty, that's stuff you just can't let fly. But right. I'm telling you right now, though, what I really want to see, I want to see Marchie involved. The king of the rats, basically. If Marchand gets more involved, I know he had an assist in this game, but I got to see more goals out of him. I got to see more,
as long as if he's on the ice producing. Listen, as long as if his plus minus is plus. I don't need to see the goals. I want to see you coming in, whether you're on the second line, the third line, the fourth line. Show me something. Contribute. Give me. If you have 0 goals but 3 assists, you had a hell of a night. Like Paul. That's why I love watching when Paul Marie speaks to us, because he's always like, it's not about the goals. Like Carter Verhaeghe could go on an 11-game goalless streak, but if he's giving me 10 assists in 11 games, I'm loving Carter Verhaeghe's game.
Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with Barkov. And again, that's what makes him one of the better forwards, young forwards, in the NHL. But the Florida Panthers themselves, 4-2, beating out Game 4 in Sunrise, 3-1 series lead. Now, just to end off the last minute and a half, or just a minute or so, I want your guys' thoughts on this. Do the Cats even return to Sunrise for a Game 6?
I don't think so. I think it's one of those scenarios like last year where the Panthers had Game 5 on home ice in the first round and took care of business. I believe that score was 6-1. I'm going to say that the Panthers are going to be an energetic, fired up team, especially after tonight's come from behind win. And you just hope that it doesn't go to a Game 6. I think they ended in 5, get some rest, and then prepare for what should be Toronto.
Jonka?
I'm going to say we do not return back to Sunrise, and I think we win 3-1, and the last goal being an empty net, and we end up.
Jonka's throwing out like props over here. Jesus.
Hey,
he's going out.
I can see it. I can see it being competitive, 2-1, and they're having to bring out the goalie, and then we ended up just getting it in, and it's making it 3-1 game over.
Superb night behind the pipes from Sergei Bobrovsky. Panthers fans, media, they have nothing to worry about. If it's a solid night behind the pipes, do not worry, because he will be there to rescue your team. And the Panthers, again, in the Stanley Cup playoffs, will move on to the second round.
Or if you're Cuban, you say Borroki.
Nothing to worry about at all. Bob, who already has a shutout from Game 2, looks to do that again Wednesday for Game 5 in Tampa Bay.
A quick note before we sign off. If you guys didn't see, they're doing a watch party for Game 5 at the Baptist Health Iceplex over in down Fort Lauderdale. That's where that's the Panthers practice facility. It would be nice to see you guys out there. Come, I believe you can skate too while watching the game. So they do a very, very good job of involving the fans while playoff hockey is going on. So if you guys are able to make it, I know Fort Lauderdale traffic can be kind of hectic sometimes, but if you're able to make it, definitely come on out. It should be a fun night. I'll be there, so it should be fun.
There we go.
I also want to thank everybody that came out this on the draft night. We had I think we had 70 people watching all at once. Great crowd, great draft, drama filled. Thank you for coming out.
I mean, we even had Jonka's brother inside of the stream too.
Yeah, he went on
Jonka's brother. He was wearing a Dolphins hat. He was ready to go.
he was spewing some Dolphin future picks. Again, mostly negative. He's never a positive Dolphin fan, I tell.
But how can you be? They haven't won a playoff game since 08, and they haven't won a goddamn playoff game since 2000.
Fingers crossed. We always got the fingers crossed.
And by the way, he was born December 18, 99. So technically, he hasn't even seen.
Yeah, because it was December 30th of 2000.
Yikes. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for our show here. Again, thank you for the growth of this channel. Thank you for coming in again on a Monday. As always, every single night, 10 p.m. We'll see you guys next Monday. Thank you for joining in. And you guys be safe out there. See you there for more playoff action and more sports here on Plug Talk Sports.
Don't forget, support the troops.
Come out to